Yeah. Give me 12 slugs of slurping, 11 benders burping, 10 episodes dropping.
Welcome, friends. We're back discussing Futurama, the Hulu revival, season 11, up to episode 6 already. This one entitled, I Know What You Did Next, Xmas. But before we get too far into it, there will be spoilers ahead. Consider this your last warning. So far from the revival series, or the revival season, whatever you want to call it, is probably, well, not even probably, it is the best episode they've done. If you've been watching my prior reviews, you've probably felt that I'm not entirely invested in the revival, and I kind of feel like it doesn't really warrant its own existence at this point. However, it has been improving pretty steadily since the first episode, and I think this is the culmination of a lot of the stuff that was missing is currently present in this episode. This was a holiday special, a primarily Xmas special, which was a bit odd to have in August, but whatever. We did get the reappearance of Kwanzaa Bot and the Hanukkah Zombie as well. From beginning to end, an Xmas special, I guess you could say. So it wasn't just a cameo appearance like some of the Santa Bot stuff that we've received in the latter days of Futurama before the revival. And this might be one of the better ones. However, I am still feeling that there is a missing disconnect, a slight lacking of a populated world, I guess you could say. It does still feel a little bit empty and a little bit less than genuine. All of that aside, I really actually did have fun with this episode. It was good to see the character interactions and having a Zoidberg-Bender team up, which is something we really haven't seen in the show before. They've, if anything, been kind of antagonistic with each other, or at least Bender towards Zoidberg. So that was nice to see. One of the other things I've kind of rallied against here, or railed against, I guess is the better way to say that, has been the lack of carrying things forward from episodes. So we saw early on Amy and Kif, their children, being introduced, and then we saw that whole Nibbler thing. Well, I'm happy to report both of those were addressed in this episode. Amy and Kif's kids were present for one of the holiday parties, and they were actually the backdoor introduction to the backstory of who the whole Santa Bot Xmas thing is, which was a nice touch because it felt more genuine having new characters be introduced to this thing than to just explain it to the audience, or characters that are supposed to be aware of this like they did with Amy and Kif's backstory. So I did like the way that they did that. The old school quasi Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer holiday special kind of animation for the backstory of Santa Bot was kind of really cool too. And having the stockings for Nibbler's worms wasn't really necessarily a plot point that made much sense as far as moving the story along, but upon second watch, or maybe you noticed it on first watch, it kind of gives you clues to that twist at the end of the episode. So the whole point of this episode is the professor's forwards-only time machine has now been fixed. It is now capable of going backwards. They have another nice mocking of Fry about how becoming your own grandfather is definitely not something that normally happens.
But I'll go alone to minimize the chance of anyone becoming their own grandfather. These things happen.
No, they don't.
He goes back in time to flip the switch from that very first Xmas where Santa Bot became evil because his good-bad sensor was switched, or whatever it was called, his naughty-nice sensor, I guess it was. And it turns out that inevitably, and I kind of saw this coming from the very beginning, it was the professor doing this that turned him evil to begin with. But the real situation here wasn't the plot. It rarely is in these Futurama episodes. It was the interactions, the zaniness, the characters being who and what they are that really drove it. And it was mostly that was setting the stage at the beginning and the end. The main point of the story was Zoidberg and Bender teaming up together and kind of having this moment where they're both the outsiders. They're both the ones that don't have family, although technically, I guess you could say that Bender's family is Fry and Hermes based on prior episodes, and Zoidberg technically does have his uncle, and he does have that girlfriend conceivably from the second to last episode before they were canceled the last time. Don't know what happened to her. I don't even think she was referenced. So they are the outsiders, though. They are the ones that don't really fit in. So to see them commiserating while everyone else is celebrating with their families or friends or whatever was nice. It was also nice to get a call back with Leela's parents and her grandmother from that Land Titanic episode from a couple of seasons ago. We even got Qbert here for a brief appearance, and he really hasn't done anything in the show for a long time. Not that I'm complaining. I don't really like his character, but he is a character in the show, so he should be a part of it from time to time. We got a nice appearance by Coolio here, probably going to be the last appearance anywhere since he sadly passed away, but it was kind of something I wasn't expecting, and I really didn't even put it together until the very end of the episode when they had that rest in peace or that memorial moment for him. So it was kind of nice to get all these callbacks. One thing I'm still not certain about, and this is probably online, I've just done absolutely zero research on it, is why they replaced John Goodman in the first place, since he did play Santa originally in the very first episode he appeared in, and never again. So I don't know why that replacement was made. It's probably easier not to bring him back, but I feel like this conceivably could have been the time to do it, to bring him back in this episode, since it was traveling back to the very first appearance, and maybe the voice changed after that. I don't know. Again, I'm really overthinking something that has really no bearing on anything. I just wanted to bring that up. I have to imagine this might be the pinnacle, the height of the season, and it might go back down after that, specifically because next episode is going to be the vaccine allegory. However, I'm not going to judge that until I see it. I'm very wary, but I'm not going to judge it until I see it. I just don't have exceptionally high hopes, especially considering the episodes that we received prior to this Christmas special. But I do have to say, if I am going to watch any episode from this season on a binge, maybe around the holidays, I probably wouldn't mind popping this in as a holiday special, a holiday spectacular, while I'm watching other holiday-themed episodes from shows. Oh, I didn't mention the twist. The actual twist was they didn't actually go backwards one year like was originally intended. They thought they were going backwards one year to steal Santa. They ended up going forward to this Christmas, so that was the whole thing, and it was a nice touch. Like I said, you could tell they didn't actually go back in time because you could see Nibbler's worm stocking on the fireplace, so that was a nice catch if you were able to spot that. It wasn't a continuity error, it was kind of a clue that they didn't actually go where they thought they were going. And it was also cool to have all the little fun Easter eggs and callbacks when the professor was taking his time machine backwards in time. He went backwards too far, so he had to take it around again the long way, which now kind of sort of means to me, I don't know if this was intended, if you remember the last time they were trapped in the time machine and they had to take it around the long way forwards, they kind of went through an entire cycle of a universe, and then they entered a new universe, and that's the one they're currently existing in. So now that he took it backwards, I think he is now existing in that missed universe, that universe that they just kind of completely skipped over. I know I'm, again, like I said, completely overthinking things, but I like these little touches because that's very fascinating to me that he is now existing in that other alternate prior universe, whatever you want to call it. It's not the actual one he left. Now, is there an infinite number of professors always going back in time and there's always coming one back? Or is this just mean the professor left and for all intents and purposes never returned to that universe where we started things? It was a nice self-contained story, even if we get no more references to it later on. And there was a nice little cameo, I suppose, of the whole Disenchanted universe while they were traveling through time. Not sure if that's going to pay off into anything, but we'll have to see. Those are my thoughts. What did you think about this episode? Do you find it as better than the rest as I do, or are you still kind of meh with the whole return of Futurama? Leave all your thoughts below, like, share, subscribe, do all the YouTube things. But until next time...
And no voiceover credit for it.